Today's video is for Rinnegan users only. Shinobi wielding the purple circular eye have access to some of the greatest techniques available in the whole Naruto franchise. Wielded by only a few rare souls, the Rinnegan was originally acquired by Hagoromo Ōtsutsuki, the founder of ninshū, which would later be transformed by his son Indra into the more violent ninjutsu we know of today. Of course, Sasuke could access these powers since he inherited half of Hagomoro's chakra before finally acquiring the Rinnegan. Now let's deep dive into the 6-path technique and highlight 10 of its strongest jutsu. Chibaku Tensei resembles a man-made black hole which pulls basically anything that has the bad luck of being anywhere near it. The process is a rather simple one. To activate the Chibaku Tensei jutsu, one has to create a small dark sphere within their hands and let it float to the sky. The second part of the technique involves repeating the jutsu once more to make the orb stand still in the air as it starts pulling anything in its area, whether above or below. The size of the orb may vary depending on the user, who can control how big it is. The jutsu used through the Deva path often serves to trap powerful enemies under the rumbles that are pulled towards the sphere, as a magnet would. While it's a powerful tool against unstoppable foes, you better stay clear of the earth shattering and floating towards the sky, as the collateral damage is quite extreme. This special technique used by Sasuke can be categorized as a space-time ninjutsu and is mostly useful to evade attacks. Using his left Rinnegan eye, Sasuke has the power to teleport himself from one spot to another. But in order to do so, he needs to swap places with an object first. This helps him whenever he's in a tough spot or to set traps, since he can switch his position with a weapon, which could easily wound his enemy in certain situations. While moving objects here and there can have the advantage of surprise, he can also target people with the jutsu, transporting them elsewhere. The same applies with other jutsu like Chidori, allowing him to use it in a remote way. In sum, Amenotejikara is an amazing tool when used with a tactical mind. Remember when Pain completely destroyed Konoha, leaving nothing but a crater surrounded by rubble? Well, that jutsu, which is used through the Deva path, is called Shinra Tensei. This special technique can only be used by someone who has control over the 5 basic nature transformations, which are fire, wind, lightning, earth, and water. The 6 paths jutsu creates a sort of repulsive force, which has the power to push away anything that is around the user. To some extent, it can be seen as a very effective shield against incoming weapons or a bunch of enemies coming from all sides. But as I've shown with Naruto's hometown's destruction, it can also be quite the offensive jutsu if wielded by a powerful shinobi like Pain. This technique can also be used at a smaller scale, as when its user creates a colorful orb that surrounds their body, acting as a defensive barrier. Rinne Tensei is known as a reincarnation jutsu and is used through the outer path. The jutsu can bring back to life fallen shinobi by infusing the essence of life into dead bodies. But it comes at a high price, mainly one's own life, or if they are lucky, just extremely weakened, almost at the brink of death. Users like Obito Uchiha, Nagato, whose hair turned white after performing Rinne Tensei, who restored the life of people who died after the attack on Konoha, are famous users of this powerful technique. But the most shocking moment this was used must be when Madara got reincarnated into flesh and blood and started to literally kick everyone down using his infamous limbo technique, which renders shadows of himself invisible to the naked eye. The Truth-Seeking Balls jutsu consists of a varying number of balls, which, while being as small as a fist, each contains power enough to destroy a complete village. Just like his previous life as Asura, Naruto gains the power of the Truth-Seeking Ball when the power was received from the legendary Hagoromo Ōtsutsuki. Depending on the user, the black orbs float about around the user. In the case of Naruto, they appear to be floating behind him, waiting for their great power to be unleashed. Truth-seeking balls are extremely versatile and can be used in various ways and even shaped into powerful weapons. One example of this is when Naruto transformed one of his balls into a single-tailed beast ball, Rasenshuriken, which is a wind-powered weapon that can slice through almost anything. And just like the dust release, a single truth-seeking ball can turn anyone to dust simply through touch. Another gift that was given to Naruto from Hagoromo is the 6 Paths Sage mode. Naruto often uses the powerful mode when channeling bright yellow and glowing flames, indicating that he entered the 9 Tails chakra mode. The Sixth Path's Sage mode can give Naruto peculiar orange eyes, which are a mix between a fox and a toad's eyes. The mode basically boosts Naruto's physical abilities to a heightened state of power, granting him the strength to even kick away one of his opponent's truth-seeking balls. Through the use of this special technique, his jutsu are augmented and granted amazing amounts of natural energy. His mastering of chakra is improved, and his sensing ability is increased to the point that he can sense Madara's shadows that he uses to sneak attack his enemies through the limbo world. After Hagoromo chose Asura instead of his brother Indra as successor, it lasted into a family feud that lived beyond their own two lifespans, as the hatred between the two spread from one life to another, culminating into their reincarnation as Naruto and Sasuke. Indra's jealousy eventually led him to seek more power and take on his brother one-on-one. The fight between the two brothers eventually attained titanic proportions when Asura summoned his Susanoo, called Six Paths, Kunitsukami, against Indra's, ultimately defeating him. Asura's avatar was so powerful that it came equipped with gigantic truth-seeking balls and 2 extra pairs of arms, and having Naruto's signature orange and yellow colors, combined with a massive amount of foxtails. After all, Naruto is Asura's current reincarnation. Indra's arrow is Sasuke's most powerful offensive jutsu. When in Susanoo form, he can summon the power of thunder, create a bow and an enormous lightning arrow, capable of leveling vast areas, and match Naruto's Six Paths, Ultra Big Ball Rasenshuriken. Sasuke could accomplish that level of power after absorbing the chakra from all of the 9-tailed beasts, and combining this power to his Tengu-like purple Susanoo. Indra's arrow is used in the final fight against Naruto, one that mirrors Asura's and Indra's fight many generations ago, but in an even more impressive combat between two formidable shinobi with power and skill levels matching in many ways. Naruto uses the Six Paths Ultra Big Ball Rasenshuriken in Kurama form during the epic fight against Sasuke I just mentioned. The jutsu is performed after Naruto activates his Six Paths Sage mode, uses the Six Paths Senjutsu, and creates shadow clones, which then merge with the original. This results in an amazing beast with 6 arms and 3 faces, combined with the many tails the creature originally had. The jutsu involves the creation of 2 giant-tailed beast ball Rasenshuriken, which are infused with natural energy. After powering up the 2 items, Naruto then uses them as projectiles, aiming them right at Sasuke. The wind release type technique was strong enough to counter Sasuke's Indra's arrow, which he himself called the strongest jutsu in his arsenal. Whether Indra's arrow or Six Paths Ultra Big Ball Rasenshuriken deserves 3rd or 2nd spot, I leave to you. Today's top Six Path Jutsu goes to Six Paths Chibaku Tensei. The ultra-powerful sealing technique usually requires the power of 2 extremely strong shinobi to be performed. The sealing jutsu was originally used by the brothers Hagoromo and Hagoromo Ōtsutsuki to seal the Ten Tails body, which resulted in the creation of the moon we know today. The technique was eventually passed down to Naruto and Sasuke, who also had to perform it on Kaguya to reseal her into a newly created moon along with Black Zetsu. The technique is a more advanced version of Chibaku Tensei, and involves 2 users of the Six Paths yin and yang powers, as they make someone's body the center of attraction instead of a black sphere. What follows is a sort of earthquake, where rumbles fly towards the person cursed by the jutsu, sealing them away in the sky. Six Paths have many techniques and variations, like the Six Paths Senjutsu, allowing one to fly, or the creation of extra mechanical arms and other weapons through the Asura path. With Boruto still ongoing, I wonder which kind of the new OP powers are on the horizon.